Finally, my Creality CR6-SE. It's here. This was ordered in June, beginning of June. Showed up here last week. We'll talk about that more later, but let's get this unboxed. Okay, so in the box, we got a bunch of extra nozzles, and I'm not sure what that looks like, a sensor of some sort, and an extra Bowden tube. We have, I ordered this so long ago, I didn't even remember what it came with. This actually does come with one roll of Creality filament. I didn't know they had their own branded filament. And then we have all the parts in here, so we're going to take this apart, get it laid out on the table here on the work surface, and we'll build it together. Thanks to Joel, the 3D printing nerd, I avoided some confusion, because when I took everything out, I'm like, oh, where are the tools that they normally give you? And I remember from watching his unboxing video way back when that there's this little drawer that they include with the printer, and all of the tools are in there. It's interesting, they give you like a tinier than tiny dikes. That's, wow, I don't know why it's that small, but yeah. Give you an interesting wrench socket that I have not ever seen with a printer. Conventional wrench, little mini scraper, a unclogger needle, some more spare nozzles, Allen wrenches, a USB SD card reader, and a SD card, which I'm sure is shitty quality, which I will more than likely not use. All right, so let's, there's some cautions about the Start G code. Okay, it says that you need to make sure that you have a G28 in your Start G code and not all this other stuff in this other one. So we'll worry about that later. Let's get this thing built. All right, so the first major step is you need to attach the x-axis to the y-axis, right? Makes sense. So let's get out my long screws. I'm going to try to turn this so it's kind of half hanging off. You want the Creality on this gantry to match the Creality on the build plate. I'm trying to think, guys, this is probably the first time that I have put together a non-Prusa printer in quite a while. I've kind of been all Prusa lately. Although I do have non-Prusa printers still in my active stable, I would say 75% of the printers in this room are Prusa printers. All right, so I'm just going to try to just get these all started loosely. Not getting that one threaded, come on. All right, I know it's not very exciting watching me screw in bolts, so let's take a break. All right, so as I'm finishing up tightening these 4 bolts up, we can talk about my process of getting this printer. I saw online when it was first announced back in the early summer, late spring, whatever, some of the specs of the printer, and it was impressing a lot of the YouTube reviewers because they got early production models, and I kind of did a knee-jerk buy on this because it's not like I really needed another printer, but just the features look good. The build size is very similar to my MK3S's. Had silent stepper motors. Price wasn't bad. I think my Kickstarter price was $350, $360, something like that. I'll have to verify that, but it seemed like a nice printer for the money. So I bought it through Kickstarter. I supported the project on Kickstarter, which is something I've never done before, and something I probably will never do again. I found the entire process annoying and frustrating and confusing. Once I placed the order, we kept getting these emails sent to everybody that bought the printer with status updates and saying that, okay, well, if your number was between this and that, and you're in this country, we were sending the units out, and this went on for months, but there wasn't any sort of direct communication to the customer saying, hey, okay, this is your order status, this is what's going on with your order. Instead, you just had to rely on these group emails that were being sent to everybody, which I found annoying. And what I found more annoying was I realized later down the line that not only did I have to place the order with Kickstarter, but there's a second step where you had to go into another site called Pledgebox. And when you went into Pledgebox, you basically made a couple more selections that actually finalized your offer. I don't know if I missed that email originally directing me to do that, but I didn't discover that I needed to actually do that until months later. So I probably have one of the last CR6-SEs from that Kickstarter campaign, unfortunately for me. So yeah, it just, the whole process was just, I didn't like it. I really didn't like it. I liked being able just to order something, be able to get a status for something. That's the other thing that was very frustrating, was when the timeline kept getting pushed out and out and out. You know, I tried to email the support on the campaign on Kickstarter for Creality. I tried to email Pledgebox to say, hey, what's going on here? I can't get any information about where my order is at and shipping information or anything like that. Got no responses. The only sort of response I got was when I went on the Creality Facebook page, their public-facing page, and I said, hey, I placed an order in the Kickstarter here. No one will tell me anything about it. How do I get information? And the response I basically got was, just wait. It'll show up. Just wait. So yeah, Kickstarter for 3D printers, won't be doing that again. Okay, got those 4 screws in now. Next is telling me to install these 2 screws up front to secure the control panel. Nothing highly technical here. You know, compared to the Prusa install, I have 3 MK3Ss, and the first one I actually got the kit, and I built it from scratch. And yeah, it was satisfying, but yeah, it was also a huge pain in the ass. So all my other Prusas that I've gotten have been pre-assembled. It just wasn't worth the 8 to 10 hours it was taking me to build a printer. I'd rather just get something that's more or less ready to go. So, and it looks like the build here on the CR6-SE is pretty simple, especially compared to the Prusa MK3S. The MMU2S wasn't any fun to build either. That kind of sucked as well. All right, so after attaching the display cable is right here. It was kind of taped down to the printer, and you're supposed to connect that in the back. Of course, it only goes one way, and of course, I can't see very well. Let's see. Okay, that is in. All right, display is complete. Oh wow! So we're already installing the spool holder. Okay, so let's turn this around. So we're oriented like the picture. Yeah, Creality instructions are not the best, but they're better than they used to be, but they still are not great. Okay, so we're gonna put this in, and it looks like it goes. Again, the instructions kind of suck. Okay, so it's supposed to go. Again, I'm just trying to make sense. These pictures are kind of small. The text part of the instructions is very minimalistic. Okay, I have it on. You basically just have to put it at a steep angle there to get the top lip hooked, and then it just kind of snaps in place there. And this does have the ability to pivot if you want it to. So we'll see. We'll see if I need to move it. All right, next up we are installing the handle. I've printed handles for my 2 Prusa Minis, and they do work nicely on that printer. So I guess this will give you an easy way to move your CR6 around as well. So just bolts and T-nuts sliding into the extrusion. Nothing too complicated. All right, handles on. Take glass pick and place hand plate for platform replacement. I'm not sure what it's talking about there. So now, we got to just hook all these cables up. Of course, you need to make sure that your power supply is set for 115, not 230. The switch for it is right here, and it is set for 230. And let's make sure we change that. 115, much better. And we have the robot vacuum in here right now, and that's not good. All right, so Creality has opted for a different kind of cabling setup here. using these braided cables, flat braided cables. So you got one that goes right here for the, is that the extruder motor? Yeah, it's the extruder motor. And then, again, we're relying on the great pictures. Do we go behind? We go behind. Okay. Here is the cable for the print head. There are some, well, let's get it up there first. There are some little cable management doohickeys here. Come on, doohickeys. There we go. So this plugs in right up top here to the extruder. Oh, there's another doohickey there. All right. I guess I'm supposed to attach it here as well. Now, my buddy at work, he actually has the exact same printer. He ordered almost, I think actually a day or two after I did. But he's had his longer than I have because of my tardiness with filling out the pledge box part of it. He told me about a problem that they have been having with cable management on here, and he told me to get these parts and print them, and I don't remember how they're utilized yet. Oh wow, is that loose? Holy cow, is that loose? Super loose. Yeah, we gotta tighten that up because it's supposed to address some of the issues with this cable potentially wearing out. Let's see, how would that go? All right, I gotta do a little investigation. Okay, so what my buddy had given me was the STLs to print this and this. This is already broken. So, but basically, the way that they recommend that you, a good portion of the community, instead of routing this wire behind, they have it being routed in front. And then the key thing that they were trying to avoid was having the wires that go into the print head straight up like this. Reason being, all of the back and forth motion on this would cause an issue potentially if you had the wires running straight up. There'd be constant strain on it back and forth. So the goal was to get it so you have a bend here that allows slack so there isn't tension on that wire, on those wires as it goes back and forth. So I think the way that I've rigged it here should be sufficient, but if not, we know why. So I've tried tightening these nuts and this screw, but there's still a lot of slop on that print head. I'll have to do a little bit of research and see if it's supposed to be like that, but I doubt it. But in the meantime, I'm going to quickly connect all of the stepper motors, get these connected, go see what I can do about the slop in this print head, and then we should be ready to turn this thing on. Okay, so to take the wobble out of the carriage, I had to. There's a nut here behind the lower wheel. I just had to tighten that, and now that's more than, or more like what I would expect. So that's how you get that slop out. All right. Let's see if it turns on. It's not turning on. Great. A rule of thumb that devices usually turn on better when you turn on the power strip that they're plugged into. So let's try this again. I think we'll have some better success now. There we go. We have life. All right, so let's see if we can home it. One cool thing about this printer is it does have this silent stepper motors, and it is supposed to be auto leveling. It does the leveling based on a pressure sensor that is incorporated into the print head. Let's see what it does. This print bed itself, this reminds me of the ultra base surface that you see on any cubic printers. It actually looks identical to that. So I usually have good success with that. So we'll see how this works. Okay, I just touched the bed, and it looks like it homed itself pretty darn good there, actually. Okay, so I'm gonna go through the manual and go through the leveling procedure recommended in the manual. Don't need you to watch me do this. If there's something out of the ordinary I run into here, I will come back and let you know. So there are no adjustment knobs on this bed, again, like the Prusas. So it's going to completely rely on its auto leveling function. So basically, leveling the printer is going into the level screen and hit auto leveling. Right now it is heating the hot end up to 120 degrees, and it's going to go and probe the bed. Looks like 16 different positions to level itself. So wow, be nice if it works. So the user interface on the CR6-SE is unlike any other Creality printer that I've used. I had the original CR10, I have an Ender 3 over there, and I have a CR10S Pro. Each one of those have a different user interface. So this is something different as well. It does look, you know, simple. Nothing that's going to be difficult to figure out. Is it done? What's it doing? It was just doing some probing. It's acting like it's done. But the screen doesn't. Oh, maybe it does. Are you done? I think it might be done. All right, let's move on. The CR6-SE does have a filament sensor. When it detects filament, you have a nice little handy LED that lights up there. Let's see what's involved with loading the filament. Okay, so to load the filament, you put it in that position, evidently. If you can see that. You move that arm out to load, and then you snap it in. This is an extruder. I have no idea how the... It's a little challenging to get... Okay, there we go. Okay, it's in the first hole, not in the second. I was curious if this does intelligent loading. All right, there we go. That wasn't too hard. Just had to twist it a little bit. So we'll just push it up into the hot end. We're at 200 degrees Celsius, so let's go all the way. Okay, let's flip that back. And let's put in the crappy SD card that comes with it. They do, I guess, some people have tried to force this in the wrong way, so it shows you the direction they should be oriented. The card basically goes in upside down, which for some reason is pretty normal with 3D printers. The cards always seem to go in upside down for almost all printers. Okay, it's in. So let's see, is there... All right, and we have some goop. We have some filament that was pushed out here, so let's get that off. And let's try to print. And there's nothing on the card, really? Really nothing on the card? Come on, serious? They always have a test model on here. Is there really nothing on this card? I find that hard to believe. All right, there's apparently nothing on the card. So I need to get something loaded, and we'll continue. All right, so there are actually files on the SD card. They're in a subdirectory, and because they're in a subdirectory, you couldn't see them until you move them to the root of the directory. So we're gonna just try to print a dragon. No idea what it looks like. I'll let you stick around while it starts, just to see if we get a clean first layer. And then we'll come back to see what the end result is. I did find, while I was on the internet looking around, I did find a Simplify 3D profile for the CR6-SE, because that is the slicer that I use for my non-Prusa printers. I usually use Simplify 3D. All right. So it's going around. Okay, and there he goes. All right, so it is dropping a first layer down. I guess you'd like to see that, right? Just by eyeballing it, that looks a little high to me. Let's see, can I adjust the offset? Interesting. Not sure how well you can see that. I'm trying to move it down a little bit, because eyeball, that looks high to me, but it's printing okay. All right, let me do a little tweak in here. I forgot about this cool feature. It has an LED mounted under there, so you know, it's kind of hard to see what the printer is doing normally with most printers, you know, because it looks like that. You got to shine a light on it, but it has a nice little LED that you can see very clearly what's going on. Now, I moved my Z offset to 0.10, and that's looking pretty good to me. So yeah, we're gonna let it go, and I'll be back later. Okay, I finished my first print, which was this, a articulated little like dinosaur deal. And I am on to printing a alternative spool holder. I want to put the printer back in this spot here, and as you can tell, having a big spool holder sitting out to the left is going to be a problem. I'm printing a bracket that should hopefully allow me to put the spool up top so I can get it back and fit that space a little bit better. So that is the plan. The quality of the print that I got off the printer, my initial print, very good. Runs quiet. Print quality seems, at least initially, seems just fine. No problems whatsoever. Okay, so that's going to wrap up my initial build and first couple prints on the CR6-SE. So far so good. Like I said, the biggest negative has been the whole process of getting the printer through Kickstarter. That was not fun. Printer itself seems good. I've heard lots of good feedback about it, so hopefully it serves me well. I'll check in once I have some more time under my belt with this printer to let you guys know if my opinion has changed. But yeah, so far so good. I know I haven't done any 3D videos in a long time. My plate's been full, just doing other stuff. It's been hard for me to find the time to document as much as I would like to with 3D printers, but I will continue to make efforts to do so. So if you guys found this video interesting, please give it a big thumbs up. Thumbs up means you like the content, means I should spend more time making this kind of content. If this is your first time visiting the channel, please think about subscribing. If you're going to subscribe, you can always hit the notify bell, which is over there. Feel free to leave your comments, suggestions, ideas, and thoughts about the CR6-SE in the comment section below. That's all I'm going to have for you for now. Hope you guys have a great weekend. Until next time, Duffman out.